Hello, everybody. It is that time of the week again. It is Power Performance Index time. Week 22. We've only got a couple more weeks of the season here. Now, of course, I'm a week behind. I think a lot of others who probably do these. I guess I didn't do the one week when they just played one game because I thought what's really going to change. So I didn't end up doing that week. So yeah, this one is week 22 of this. So starting out at number 32, yeah, it's not good for it's not good for these guys. Number 32 is Chicago. The Blackhawks, they've lost six in a row. It's not pretty. It's just not pretty. And a lot of drama going around, Bedard doesn't want to be there now, and this, yeah, it's a rebuilding team. We knew this was going to be, they were going to be in this situation for a couple of years, and hopefully next year it'll, be a little bit better. Number 31, staying oddly enough in the same spot only because Chicago has been so bad, and that's Philly. Philadelphia's lost 4 straight. And that's the only reason that they don't move any further down is because Chicago's been worse. It's not pretty. I mean, Philadelphia's lost. They've only won one game in their last 10. I mean, they're 1-8-1 in the last 10. And again, the only reason why they haven't dropped further is because Chicago has just been that much worse. Number 30. Now, this honestly surprises me that they're at this point, because the odd thing is, looking at the standings, I mean, they're a ways back now, but they still got an outside shot at making the playoffs, and that's, if I hold it the right way, Boston. The Bruins, I did not see this coming at all this year from the Boston Bruins, considering the year they had just a couple years ago, winning 65 games, and here they are, number 30 on this list. They've lost 5 straight. They've dropped 3 spots, and there they are at number 30. And yeah, for the Bruins, it's just, to me, it's wait until next year, basically. I mean, what more can you do? Number 29. Now, they move up 3 spots. Now they have resided at number 32 for so often this year. It's crazy. So seeing them actually out of the bottom 3 is kind of cool. And that's San Jose. So the Sharks are 29. And again, the Sharks, they're not making the playoffs. They've been officially eliminated from the playoffs, as has Chicago. And for them, it's wait until the draft. Wait until draft lottery, see where you see what pick you get, and kind of go from there. But yeah, at least they're not in the bottom 3 this week. We'll see if that maintains, though. Number 28. Now, they actually move up a spot, even though they've lost 2 in a row. And that's just because, I mean, Boston fell, so, I mean, these guys kind of had to move up. And that's Buffalo. So, Buffalo, another team that is not going to make the playoffs. This is going to be, what is this going to be, 14 straight years that they will miss the playoffs, and it's ugly, and I don't know if Buffalo can get out of this. I don't know when they'll get out of this, but boy, it'd be nice if they could at some point, right? I mean, just at some point, just stumble, find a way to stumble into a playoff chase. That's all I'm hoping right now for Buffalo, is just one time stumble into a playoff chase. Number 27. Now, they dropped 3 spots, even though they had a big win tonight. Big win tonight. A win that nobody really expected, considering they were playing a team that was relatively hot coming into the game, and that is Nashville. So they had a big win tonight over Toronto. Big win tonight over Toronto. And it's amazing. Nashville is another team. They're not making the playoffs. It's a wait for the draft lottery type thing. And what do they got to lose? They're just like, yeah, screw it. Let's see if we can put a little dent in one of these playoff teams. And yeah, they put a little bit of a dent in the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. And they're just playing out the rest of the string, and let's at least see how they can end the season. Number 26. Now, you talk about a team that has cratered over the last few weeks, dropping 3 spots. They've lost 2 in a row again. They're 2-8 in their last 10. This was a team that was in a playoff spot just like 3 weeks ago. Detroit. What? I don't know what happened with Detroit. I really don't. They were playing so well. They got that coaching bump. It propelled them into a playoff spot. They were one of the wild cards. They were, I think, the number 1 wild card like 3-4 weeks ago. And now here they are in the bottom row, and they're 5 points out. I don't know what happened to Detroit. They fell apart at the absolute wrong time. And this looking like it's going to be another missed playoff for the Red Wings. And where does that team go? Where do they go? I really don't know right now. They replaced the coach. So you can't replace the coach. What do you do with Steve Yzerman if you're the Red Wings? I don't know. Especially if they don't make the playoffs, which it's looking like they're not. I don't know. But yeah, the number 26. Number 25, moving up 1 spot. They did win their last game. They're 4-5-1 in the last 10. They went 1-1-1 this week, and that is Anaheim. So the Ducks, they're flirting. They're flirting with getting out of the bottom row again. And again, this is a team, they flirt with 500. They flirt with NHL 500. They just can't, if they get above 500, they always fall back. It's getting above 500 and staying there. That's Anaheim. That's one of Anaheim's big issues right now. And again, they're a team that nobody's really expecting much out of. They're vastly improved from last year, which is good. And I just think, you gotta keep trying to build from here. Number 24, dropping 2 spots. They've lost 2 in a row. They went 1-2-1 in their last 10. They, of course, lost to, who did they end up losing to tonight? Because I was watching that, or I was tuning into that. And yeah, they ended up losing to Edmonton, and that's Seattle. Seattle is, again, I think Seattle is a team that is kind of underachieving. I guess, again, I expected more from them. I expected more from the Kraken coming into this season, and it just hasn't been there for them. And again, I think they're good. I think they're good. They're good. They got to be better next year, right? They have to be. You would think, but again, Seattle's another one of those teams. It's kind of, wait to see where you pick in the lottery. Number 23, moving up 2 spots. They have quietly, and I do mean quietly, kind of gotten back into the playoff chase, even though I don't see them getting in because I think they're too far out, and they've played 2 more games than a lot of these other teams. But Pittsburgh's playing well. I mean, they're doing okay. And it's just, they're another one of those teams. They're not making the playoffs. I can't imagine unless they go on an insane run and all these other teams drop back. I don't see Pittsburgh snagging one of the wild card spots. But again, they're playing well. They're hanging in, and they're trying. They're good. They're giving it what they can. Number 22. Now, you want to talk about disappointment? Very disappointed, because from the way these guys were playing, they were looking like for sure that they were potentially going to get one of those wild card spots. And they have dropped 5 spots. They've dropped 6 in a row. Columbus. Oh, I don't understand what has happened to them. I mean, they just kind of like Detroit. They were looking so good. They were looking like a team that could make the playoffs. There was a point where both of those teams had the 2 wild card spots. Columbus, I think, had the number 1 wild card spot. Detroit had the 2nd wild card, just like 4 weeks ago. And now here they are. They're in Columbus. They've dropped 6 in a row. They've looked awful. They're 2-7-1 in the last 10, and just it's not been pretty. And they're only 4 points out. But as of right now, I don't think they're going to get there. I just don't think they're going to get there. I think they're going to come up a little bit short, which is a bummer because I really wanted to see Columbus get in, but I don't see it right now. Number 21, dropping 7 spots. They went 1-3 this week, and a lot of people were talking about how they were looking real good. They actually got into a wild card spot for like a day. And then they proceeded to lose 3 in a row before finally actually scoring a win, and that's the New York Rangers. Now, a lot of people are thinking that the Rangers are still going to get one of those spots. But when you look at the standings, they're 1 point out of a playoff spot right now. But when you look at the teams around them, when you look at the 2 teams that are above them in Ottawa and Montreal had played 2 less games than the Rangers. The New York Islanders, who are only 1 point behind the Rangers, have also played 2 less games. And the Blue Jackets, who are 3 points behind the Rangers, 4 points out of the playoff spot, have played 2 less than the Rangers. So the Rangers it's looking harder and harder for them to snag one of those spots. The fact that they've played more games than all of these teams that are directly behind them and in front of them. So the idea of the Rangers making the playoffs, it's not going to be easy. Can it happen? Of course it can. But they got to find a way to turn it on in order to do it. And all these teams falling back because, like I said, they played 2 more games than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the teams. The 2 teams that are ahead of them and the 3 that are directly behind them. They've played 2 more games than all those other teams. Number 20. Speaking of a team that has played 2 less games than the New York Rangers and is only 1 point behind them, the New York Islanders. So the Islanders, it's not out of the realm of possibility for them that they can get in the playoffs. I mean, I think it's entirely possible. They, considering the week they had the week prior, had them down here, and they moved up 8 spots. So is it possible the Islanders could maybe find a way to snag one of those spots? It's entirely possible. Again, they've played as many games as Ottawa and Montreal, and those are the 2 wildcard teams. So you never know. I think it's entirely possible if the Islanders can keep it together. I think they could. It wouldn't shock me if they got one of those spots. Number 19, dropping 3 spots. They have won 2 in a row. And this is a team, honestly, I don't know if they have what it takes to quite make it, but is it a team that can just screw around good enough to maybe snag that number 2 wild card spot in the West? Utah. Maybe. I mean, Utah, they played well. I mean, they have a halfway decent. I mean, they're above 500, which is good. I mean, they're 32-27 on 11. 11 OT loss points. That's kind of a kick in the pants. But that's 11 points. So who knows? Utah, they're only 4 points out. So it's not outside the realm of possibility that they can get in. They also have a game in hand on St. Louis. But they also have played one more game than the team that is right behind St. Louis. So I don't know. But, would it be interesting to see if Utah could make the playoffs? Oh, yeah, it would be. Number 18. Moving up 2 spots. Now, they went 1-0-2 this week. Their last 10 games, they're 5-1-4. Their last 2 games, they've lost in overtime and a shootout. And tonight, they were down 4-1 against Colorado, came back, tied the game. It went to a shootout, and they only came away with 1 point. But Montreal is a team that they are. Would it surprise me if they get into a playoff spot? No, because I mean, right now they're in the number 2 wild card spot right now. So can they hold it? Like I said, they're up 1 point on the New York Rangers, but they've played 2 less games than them. So in Montreal, they're a fun team to watch. They are really fun to watch. If they make the playoffs, if Montreal somehow makes the playoffs, that's a team that I think could pull a big upset in the first round. It would not shock me because that is a good team. It is a good young team, and you never know. Montreal is one of those teams I think they could score a major upset in the first round because right now, if the playoffs started right now, they would play the Washington Capitals in the first round. You don't think they could beat the Capitals? I remember 2010 very well. Number 17. Now, they keep these guys. They're pretty much locked into their spot in the Metropolitan Division, but man, they just keep they're so up and down. It's crazy. They've dropped 5 spots, and they're 17 this week, and that's New Jersey. What I don't know now the injuries I know can pile up. Not having Jack Hughes, not having Jonas Siegenthaler, not having Dougie Hamilton, that hurts. And they're done for the rest of at least the rest of the regular season. Hughes, I think, might be done completely. It's not. I mean, they're pretty much they're going to play Carolina in the first round. That's almost a foregone conclusion right now. But it's considering last year New Jersey, they weren't that great last year, but we expected better last year. And again, they're a playoff team right now, but boy, yeah, the injuries have really piled up on them, and yeah, for that reason, they're number 17. Number 16, dropping 1. They've lost 2 in a row, but this is a team that they're right there. they're right there, but they're kind of you know. And I just, they're a team. So many people that you expect a lot of them when you really shouldn't. Vancouver. So Vancouver is number 16. And again, they right now, they are 4 points, or no, they are 3 points behind St. Louis for the second wild card. And I don't know. I don't think Vancouver's gonna have it. I don't think they're gonna quite make it this year. And again, a lot of fans in Vancouver, they get so amped up, they get so hyped. They have a great season last year. If they have a healthy Brock Besser in Game 7 against Edmonton, they might have moved on to play the Dallas Stars in the Western Conference Final. But alas, they didn't. And the expectations. I think a lot of people had the expectations for them, and you can't expect a lot out of the Vancouver Canucks because they find a way to disappoint. Speaking of expectations and finding a way to disappoint, even though they've been playing well lately, they've won 3 in a row. They moved up 6 spots. They went 3-0 this week. They're 6-3-1 in the last 10. And hello, Minnesota again. So Minnesota, they're the number 1 wild card. They have 85 points. Now, mind you, they're not. There's no way in hell they're going to catch Colorado. They're not going to catch Colorado for 3rd in the division. And I don't see it. I think they're going to be locked into that. They're at least right now they're locked into the wild card spot, and I think that's where they're going to end up. That's where they're going to end up being. They're going to end up being a wild card, and most likely they'll end up playing Vegas in the first round. Where what's going to happen in that series? Well, it's Minnesota. We all kind of know, but Minnesota, they have these little runs. They have these little runs, and it gives you a little hope, and then it comes crashing down. And now this week they've been back up again. So I don't know, but yeah, they're good. They're good enough this week to at least be number 15. Number 14, moving up 4 spots. They've won 3 in a row also. And they find themselves only 2 points behind St. Louis, and that's Calgary. So the Flames are number 14, and they're a team that is they're trying to get into that. They're trying to get that wild card spot. And you look at the standings, they have 2 games in hand on St. Louis. St. Louis has played 71 games. Calgary's played 69. 69, I know, don't snicker. but yeah, so I mean, Calgary's right there. They're right there, and they're playing well, and it's gonna be an interesting race to see who gets that number 2 wildcard spot between St. Louis, Calgary, Vancouver, and yes, Utah. So yeah, Calgary's number 14. Number 13. Now they dropped 3 spots. They went 1-2 this week, even though they're 7-2-1 in the last 10. And yeah, they hit a little bit of a snag, but they got back on track tonight with a win over New Jersey, and that's Ottawa. So the Senators, they're the number 1 wild card in the East, which I think is fantastic. I love seeing the Ottawa Senators in a playoff spot. They are 5 points clear of the playoff line in the number 1 wild card spot. So that is good. Now, is it a guarantee that they're going to stay there? That they're going to? I don't know. I don't think it's a guarantee, but it's good. It's good to see, and I would love to see Ottawa get back into the playoffs. I think that would be fantastic. Number 12, moving up 7 spots. They've won 5 in a row. They went 4-0 this week. They're 7-2-1 in the last 10. And they currently occupy the number 2 wild card in the Western Conference. Hello, St. Louis. The Blues are, right now, they are playing some of the best hockey I think I've seen, that I've seen them play this year. They are playing fantastic. And they weren't, I mean, it was looking like, like a month, like 6-7 weeks ago, they were like, yeah, this team ain't got no shot at the playoffs. Oh, now look at them now. They're sitting in the number 2 wild card spot, and winners of 5 straight. And I talk about teams that could throw an upset in there. St. Louis gets that number 2 wild card spot. They would play the Winnipeg Jets. That's a division rivalry. It's entirely possible St. Louis could, and with Winnipeg's habit of having great regular seasons and then kind of falling apart in the playoffs, is it outside the realm of possibility St. Louis could score that upset? It wouldn't surprise me. So yeah, they're number 12. Number 11, moving up 2. They went 3-0-1 this week, 6-3-1 in the last 10. They did win their last game against Seattle, and they're trying their darndest to keep ahead of the LA Kings, and that is the Edmonton Oilers. So the Oilers are 11, and they're 2 points ahead. They're 2 points ahead of the LA Kings, but they've played 2 more games than LA. They're only 3 points behind Vegas, but they've played 1 more game than Vegas. So I don't see them catching Vegas. I don't see Vegas losing that division. And I just, Edmonton's, and with McDavid and Draisaitl hurt now. Ooh, yeah, I don't like their odds on that. But right now they're number 11 right now. Number 10, moving up 1 spot. This is a team, they're so inconsistent. I mean, you want to see a team that can go win 3 in a row, lose 3 in a row, win 3 in a row, lose 3 in a row. And they just came off again of another 3-game winning streak, and now they end up losing to one of the worst teams in the league in Nashville, and that's Toronto. So the Leafs are just, I don't know. I don't understand them. They're very inconsistent. And Steve Dangle put it best. When the pressure is on the Toronto Maple Leafs, they absolutely crumble. They fall apart. When there's no expectations on them, holy cow, they look like a team that could win the Stanley Cup. I don't get it. They had a chance to take over first place in the Atlantic Division tonight. All they had to do was get a point against Nashville, and they're in first place in their division, and yeah, they couldn't do it. So Toronto is just, Toronto, they're the Dallas Cowboys of Canada, and sports in Canada, basically, they all revolve around the Toronto Maple Leafs. Just like on ESPN here, that's all they talk about during football season is Dallas Cowboys. Up there, all they talk about is the Toronto Maple Leafs. And yeah, they're just, come playoff time, what happens? Will they be the Dallas Cowboys of the NHL? What can go wrong will go wrong? We'll find out. But they're number 10 this week. Number 9, dropping 5 spots. Boy, these guys kind of came crashing back to earth. And that is the reigning defending champion Panthers. So Florida has just, tonight they ran into a team tonight. Needless to say, they're not on the board yet, the team that they lost to. So, can you really penalize them that much? But they haven't been playing that well. They had a 4-point lead in the Atlantic, and you win a couple games here and there. You could have, widened that lead. They couldn't do it. And now they're still leading the division, but only by a tiebreaker. So yeah, they're only leading that division strictly because of a tiebreaker, because them and Toronto have the exact same record. But Florida has 35 regulation wins, while Toronto has 34. So there's the tiebreaker that keeps Florida ahead. So yeah, Florida's just outside the top row. Number 8. They've won 2 in a row. They move up 1, and yeah, they're in the top row, and they've had a decent season. And that's LA. So the Kings are back in the top row. Can they maintain that, though? Can they maintain it? They're trying to catch the Oilers to see who gets home ice advantage in that series, because you got to think they're going to play each other again. And yeah, home ice advantage, I think, could mean an awful lot in that series. Because if LA could somehow get home ice advantage in that series, they're 24-3-4 at home. They're 14-18-5 on the road. So home ice advantage in that series would be huge for the LA Kings. Number 7. They move up 1. And they went 2-1. They're 5-4-1 in the last 10. They lost tonight. Kind of a surprise loss to Utah, and that's Tampa. So the Lightning are 7, and they're 2 points behind Toronto in the Atlantic. Would we all be surprised if another first round matchup between Toronto and Tampa happens? I wouldn't be surprised. But and again, that's where home ice could mean a lot. Because Toronto's decent at both home and on the road. Tampa's way better at home than on the road. So home ice could mean a lot if that series were to happen. And so Tampa's number 7, and we'll see if they can kind of keep up the momentum or not. Number 6. They won 2 in a row. They move up 1 spot. Now the reason why there's not a lot, there's only subtle movement here in this top row is because these teams are the cream of the crop of the NHL. And yeah, they've gone 6-2-2 in the last 10. They've won 2 in a row. And yeah, they only move up 1 spot. That's Vegas. So the Golden Knights, they're just outside the top 5. The reason why they're just outside the top 5 is because the teams that are ahead of them are playing just fantastic. I mean, fantastic. And Vegas, they're leading their division. They're most likely going to win the division. And we'll see what they can do. We'll see what they do come playoff time. But yeah, Vegas, they're playing well right now. And we'll see as the last month of the season, we'll see what happens. Number 5. Now they move up 1 spot. Now I honestly thought I could have flip-flopped these teams very easily because of the way that this particular team is playing. I very easily could have flipped this team with number 4. But number 5 this week, they move up 1 spot. They've won 2 in a row. They almost blew it against Montreal tonight, and that's Colorado. So Colorado's 5. I very much thought about moving them up to number 4 and dropping the team that I have number 4 down to 5, because these two teams, they're right there. They are right there. They're right there in their own division. And yeah, So number 4 is Dallas. Now, like I said, I very much thought about flip-flopping Dallas and Colorado because of the way that Colorado has been playing, but Dallas has been playing pretty good too. Dallas went 2-0-2 on the week. They're 6-2-2 in their last 10. So Dallas has been playing just as well as Colorado. And boy, if that's a first round matchup, whoo boy, that could be very interesting. And now number 3, it's interesting. The top 3 teams in this one division are they're all right next to each other here in the top row. Number 3, they went 2-1 on the week. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10. They actually dropped 2 spots from a week ago. Winnipeg. So you have the number 1, number 2, and number 3 teams in the Central Division. 3, 4, 5. That's crazy. That is insane. But that just goes to show how good that division is, how good those teams are. And Winnipeg, I mean, yes, Winnipeg right now, they are the favorite to most likely win that division. But I think Dallas still has an outside shot. Dallas is only 8 points out. Now, a lot of people think 8 points, that's a lot, you know. I mean, that's a lot of wins that they gotta. I mean, that's 4 wins they gotta find a way to make up somehow in 13 games. Is it possible that could happen? I mean, unless Winnipeg completely falls off, yeah, it's possible. But yeah, top 3 teams in the Central are 3, 4, and 5. Number 2. Now, I couldn't really penalize these guys. They had just come off. They lost tonight against another really good team that's been on a roll, and they had won 8 straight coming in. So I thought, could I really penalize these guys? And I thought, no, not really. They're still 8-2 in their last 10. They move up 1, Carolina. So the Hurricanes are number 2. And yeah, I didn't think I could penalize them for dropping a game against an LA team that is looking really good right now too. And you know, yes, they kind of got curb stomped by the LA Kings, but I think it's one game. It's just one game. And I thought, you know, I didn't think I could really penalize them for that. And number 1, this team, they keep on going. This team is so insanely good right now. They've won 4 in a row. They're 9-1 in the last 10. They were the last team to clinch a playoff spot last year. They're the first team to clinch a playoff spot this year. And that is, of course, the Washington Capitals. Man, honestly, who saw the Capitals coming this year? I didn't see it coming. I had no clue. I was like, where did this come from these guys? They're insanely good. They are insanely good. I mean, 47, 15, and 8 is their record. 102 points. They have a plus 76 goal differential. Are you serious? Plus 76. I mean, holy, like, God Almighty! This is insane what Washington's doing this year, because this is a team from last year to this year. It's so different. And the Capitals, I mean, again, what can they do in the playoffs? That's when it's going to matter. This is all well and good. Being number 1 on the Power Performance Index, that's all well and good. Being number 1 in the league right now, that's all well and good. But just like with Winnipeg, it's what are you going to do come playoff time? That's when the rubber is going to meet the road. So there is this week's Power Performance Index. let me know in the comments. Let me know your opinions in the comments. How crazy do you think I am where I have some of these teams? Do you think some of these teams, deserve to be in different spots? And yeah, just let me know your opinion. Smash that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Comment, comment as you see fit to do, and also share the video with everyone that you know. Share, whatever video you'd like to on the channel. Go ahead and share that with whoever you would like. And yeah, so we're getting down toward the nitty gritty here. We only got about a month to go before the what is my favorite time of the year, and that will be Stanley Cup playoffs, where then, when the divisions are all figured out, I can look back and see how wrong I was during the preseason, where I had some of the divisions predicted, and then I can go and make my guesses on who wins each series and who might win the Stanley Cup. So let me know in the comments. Comment as you see fit, and yeah. So like, subscribe, comment, share. I will see you guys later.